The Application Life Cycle Risk Management Podcast, Episode 31, Raking Leaves and Writing Code. So today, I had the task of removing leaves from my yard, which gave me a lot of time to think because it's a pretty solitary job, even if you have people helping you, because much of the time, I was using a leaf blower. It's pretty hard to hold any kind of a conversation when you're using a leaf blower. And as I was running the leaf blower, I was thinking about what I was going to talk about today, and it struck me. Why not just talk about cleaning up leaves? I mean, if John Somez and Scott Hanselman can talk about stuff that isn't necessarily programming related, why can't I? But then I realized I could talk about cleaning up leaves in my yard and talk about programming all at the same time. Think about it. Why did I clean up my leaves? It wasn't to make my yard look better. No one can see my yard from the road. No one would care. Well, my family would care. But even if they didn't, we ultimately clean up the leaves from our yard because doing that means our grass will grow better next summer by allowing it to see the sun now. We do it because nasty critters live in the leaves. We remove the leaves from our driveways and sidewalks so that snow removal will be easier in the winter. In short, as hard as the work is to take care of the leaves in the fall, the work is worth it because it makes the rest of the fall and the winter easier for us and makes the summer greener. So what's interesting about the first reason, allowing the grass to get more sun during the fall months, would mean that it would actually be better to clean up the leaves frequently during the fall rather than waiting for them to all fall and then rake them like I do. By the time I get to them, it's probably too late to do any real good because I wait for them to all fall before I remove them. And by that time, the sun shines less during the day and the frost has already kicked in. And that brings me to code. We all have code that needs raking. You know you have code that's duplicated all over the place. But have you taken the time to collect all of that code and put it in one place as a function? How many other code smells do you have? Are your functions long? Do you have conditional blocks nested more than one deep? Yes, I did say more than one deep, not three deep. Do you have classes that do more than one thing? Have you written code that isn't being used because we might need it someday? As I work with inexperienced programmers, the one thing I noticed is that looking for places to simplify code is a skill that needs to be practiced. It doesn't come naturally. Many programmers assume that as long as the code does what it should, they're done. And yet, leaving these code smells in place means that the next time you go in to work on the system, you will not be able to understand the code as well as you should because you haven't let the sun shine on your code. When you get to it to maintain it, you'll be working in mud instead of nice green grass. So today, your job is to find one place in your code that could be made better. Make it less complicated. Make it fewer lines of code without making it hard to read. Find two places that are doing essentially the same thing and turn that code into a function. Find two classes that are tightly coupled, and that is highly dependent on each other, and remove the dependencies. Do this once a day for the next 30 days, and see if you don't find your code easier to work with than it is today. Don't forget to rate this show in iTunes and Stitcher. What's Stitcher? Stitcher is an award-winning free app that lets you listen to all your favorite shows, plus discover from 20,000 news, entertainment, and sports shows. Create custom playlists. Available on the iOS, Android, and Nook. No downloading, no syncing, no wasted memory. Don't have Stitcher? Download it free today at Stitcher.com or in the App Store. And for the links to items mentioned in this podcast, make sure you check out my blog at blog.dmbcllc.com. A link to this article is in the show description.